Welcome to Empowered Health. As always, we have a wide range of important topics on today's show to help you take charge of your health.
We're going to check back in with Dr. Bahi, who will be talking with us about Juvederm.
And later I'll be stopping by Julia Olton's kitchen for some more gluten-free cooking.
But first, we're going to take a look at another inspiring story of integrated health in action.
Do you know how many times a baby laughs, a small child laughs? About over 300 times a day. Do you know how many times an adult laughs as a general rule? About 10 times a day.
John Ellis is not the type of person to take life too seriously. He knows firsthand the benefits of something as simple as laughing. At 98 years of age, he is the definition of young at heart. That's why he wanted to bring laughter to residents at Crofton Manor.
I said I'd like to get people here laughing. And I thought, how can I do it? And I started to search around and I found that there was this gentleman, Alan O'Meara, who had been trained by this Indian doctor.
Mr. Ellis was researching on the web, then called me many times to get me here, and I was very busy. But he didn't give up, and then we started here. We are doing it twice a month, but John, he has a vested interest in it, and he keeps telling everybody about it.
By now you'll have noticed Alan is engaged in laughter yoga, something you've probably never heard of, but you're probably asking yourself, what is it? Well, it's like yoga, but there's a catch.
Well, there was an Indian doctor, in India of course, who got fed up with writing prescriptions for patients who came in, and he decided there must be some better way. He said most of them don't really need drugs, but if you can get them to laugh and relax and so on, they'd be much better off. So he started what he called laughter yoga.
Laughter yoga is all about losing your inhibitions, shutting off the brain and just letting yourself go. So it's movement, and especially here we do movement, music, and a lot of breath work.
It loosens up your lungs. It's a physical thing as well as a mental thing.
Stress levels come way down, and the interaction with them, with the other residents, is amazing to see. Health benefits are huge. Huge. Decreases your blood pressure, boosts your immune system, oxygenates your blood. You'll see the color in your face just changes. You get the rosy cheeks and the smile on your face, which is incredible to see.
When laughter came into my life, it was just a marvelous chance to not to be serious, but to be just an ordinary person like everyone else. And I thought psychologically it was very good.
You clap your hands together like this and say ha ha ha, ho ho ho, ha ha ha, hee hee hee. And then occasionally you say, well, give yourself a cheer. I'm feeling great, I'm feeling better, I'm feeling wonderful. Hooray! Laugh, make a lot of noise, you know, get the lungs working and get the brain tingling.
Coming up on Empowered Health.
I can't think of a single mom anywhere who doesn't think that their kids are affected by candy, pop, or ice cream.
If you've been watching our show for a while, you know there's an amazing array of important topics when it comes to chiropractic treatment. Today is no exception.
Well, before we get to that, Randy Shore's back on the show. Let's see what he's got to say. Randy?
Sugar makes my kids go completely wild and hyperactive. I've been hearing this myth all my life, and I'm still hearing it today. In fact, I can't think of a single mom anywhere who doesn't think that their kids are affected by candy, pop, or ice cream. It seems like moms everywhere dread children's birthday party, fully expecting sugar-fueled mayhem to break out and lay waste to the landscape. My own mother would have put out her eye before she brought candy or soft drinks into our house. In the early 70s, allergist Ben Feingold even designed a diet for parents to put their children on to prevent sugar-related wildness. A lot of teachers and doctors still believe this myth, but few diet-related myths have been so thoroughly debunked as this one. Scientists simply can't find any connection between sugar and hyperactivity. In blind studies, when kids are given foods that contain sugar or artificially sweetened foods, both groups behave pretty much the same. An analysis of 16 such studies found no link. Researchers who published in the Journal of Abnormal Psychology in 1994 took it one step further. They recruited kids rated by their parents as sugar sensitive. Children in both groups were given a sugar-free drink, but one set of mothers was told their child got a sugared beverage. Moms who were told their kids got sugar rated them as more hyperactive than the moms who knew the truth. Even kids diagnosed with hyperactivity disorder have shown no reaction to sugar in properly designed studies. Here's the truth, moms. Sugar does not make kids run wild. Parties make kids run wild. And if you give your kids sugar with the expectation they'll run amok, they do run amok. In my house, the excitement of just seeing a can of pop would have made me faint or do a backflip, but it had nothing to do with what was inside the can. If you don't want to feed your kids sugar, that's fine with me. It might even be the right thing to do from a health standpoint. But chances are, they're still going to run wild at a party. But that's not hyperactivity, that's called having fun. I'm Randy Shore for Empowered Health.
Your back affects your daily health. Welcome to another installment of Your Spine, Your Health.
Because you have a spine, it's important to understand what chiropractic care means to your health. Your health always starts with a regulatory college. In this case, the College of Chiropractors of BC serves to ensure you receive the appropriate diagnosis and care from a qualified chiropractic doctor today and tomorrow. That's also why BC's chiropractors fund research and education. Today, I want to introduce you to Dr. Jason Busse, who is going to talk to you about his research of predetermined outcomes.
The idea that when a patient comes to their primary care provider with a complaint of low back pain, that they could then be triaged for a specific spine assessment by either a physical therapist or a chiropractor that they're engaged with. And then based on those findings, they would work with the primary care physician to basically say, this is an individual that appears to be in need of conservative care only. Here's an individual that seems to require advanced imaging. Here's an individual that seems to be a candidate for surgical assessment.
Dr. Busse is adding to the research, explaining how chiropractic care can help improve the effectiveness of healthcare in Canada. Part of this investigation means addressing inefficiency in low back pain diagnosis and the overuse of advanced imaging equipment.
Primary care physicians are not always confident in their ability to assess and diagnose low back pain, which tends to be a very challenging condition. If there's concerns about confidence, then it can be easy to use advanced imaging as sort of part of your assessment criteria as opposed to a way to rule in or rule out a diagnosis.
The average wait for a surgical assessment in Canada is 6 months. If you are then scheduled for surgery, you could be looking at another 6-month wait. During this waiting period, many patients do not seek a second opinion from a chiropractic doctor.
The other thing that we see is a lot of primary care physicians are referring their low back pain patients that fail to resolve for surgical assessment. Say, I don't know what's happening here, off to the surgeon you go. And when we surveyed Canadian spine surgeons, we found that 20% of the referrals that are made to them, they reject without a consultation. Out of the ones they do see, most surgeons have to screen at least 10 patients to find a single candidate that would benefit from surgery.
Dr. Busse is proposing better examination and diagnosis for patients with spine-related conditions. His research explains and increases awareness of better assessment to determine who might need a surgical referral, reducing unnecessary referral and longer wait periods. As you can see, it's not just about what we can do for you today. We're working to build a better tomorrow with better health outcomes for you. The College of Chiropractors of BC sets the standards for safety, outcomes, and your informed consent.
Hey guys, my name is Simona Marian and this is Jamie Sonulf. Today we are going to show you how to perform and progress the glute ham bridge for your simple fitness tips.
This exercise is great for activating the glutes and the hamstrings. All right, Simona, we're gonna start with your hands at your hips. Good. You're gonna have your feet about shoulder width apart or slightly wider, and your toes slightly pointed out. Good. You're gonna drive the weight of your heels in while you lift your butt up, nice and high. Hold it up there for a second and contract the glutes and hamstrings. Good. Slowly lower it down. Good. Do that again, exhale on the way up and hold. Awesome job. Now, as Simona gets better at this, she can improve her performance by adding a weight on her lower abdominals with a dumbbell or a barbell. Good. Or she can go to one leg. Good. Nice. Exhale at the top. Perfect. All right, try this exercise out, and we'll see you next episode.
After the break.
There's not really a form for the perfect contact lens. It's a matter of matching the proper contact lens to the patient's need.
You're watching Empowered Health. Coming up, our good friend Dr. Bahi is back on the show to talk about a new product called Juvederm.
I've heard a lot about that lately, Michelle, and it seems to be gaining a lot of popularity among those people who want to look as young as possible. But before we learn about Juvederm, we'll be picking up some important information about contact lenses. Take a look.
Your vision may be affected, but it also can irritate the tissues underneath your eyelid, which eventually can lead to reactions and long-term damage. So there's a number of factors we gotta look at when it comes to contact lenses, especially the environments that you're in.
Contact lenses are an amazing and convenient eyesight option. But do you know what you have to do to make sure you're wearing them safely and effectively?
The contact lens acts like, if you want to think of it, most people are familiar with petri dishes, and you know it's a nice little breeding ground for bacteria. It can get trapped between the eye and the contact lens. A lot of moisture in there. It's warm, body temperature. Good nutrients in there with the tear film, the protein that's naturally in the tears and stuff like that. So a really great breeding ground for bacteria.
One of the easiest and most important things you can do when it comes to your contacts and your eye care is to wash your hands before and after you put them in your eyes.
One of the other more offending agents is actually the lens cases that you store your contact lenses. People forget to change them every time they get a new bottle of solution, or they reuse the same contact lens case for years. So that's been one of the more offending agents for infections.
Over the past few years, the technological advances regarding contacts means that you now have more options. But when it comes to safety and price, the best option is a daily disposable lens.
We've been moving to high oxygen, monthly disposable or 2-week disposables, but now we've tried to put that to daily disposable contact lenses. A fresh pair every day that lets the eye breathe is probably the best contact lens you can have.
And as always, when it comes to choosing the right contact lenses for you, it's always best to see your family optometrist.
There are several different ones that are on the market. It really depends on what the patient is looking for. There will be specific lenses that will give the best visual acuity, best performance. Some of them will be more towards managing comfort. Others are actually specifically made to maintain moisture on the eye. So there's not really a form for the perfect contact lens. It's a matter of matching the proper contact lens to the patient's need.
On a previous segment, we discussed non-invasive cosmetic procedures and their popularity. We discussed Botox in depth. In this segment, we will discuss the most common use of hyaluronic fillers, such as Juvederm. Hyaluronic acid fillers are a commercially produced substance that occurs naturally in the body. As people age, the fat volume of the face is displaced or reduced. Looking again at our model Jolene, we can see she has lost some volume around the cheeks in her face. You can imagine 20 years ago her mid-face would have been fuller. This also tends to exaggerate the nasolabial fold lines between the cheek and the upper lip. The most frequent area that Juvederm is used are the nasolabial folds, the lips, below the eyes, and where jowling and mentolabial folds occur. Here's how the nasolabial folds are treated. A needle is inserted just below the surface of the skin into the dermis. and a line of material is injected as we withdraw the needle, almost like squeezing out a line of toothpaste. This is done on the inside edge of the line, and then the area is massaged to make sure it is even. The majority of the change is seen instantly, and this will continue to improve for the following 2 weeks.
Coming up on Empowered Health.
Today we're doing an Asian cauliflower with buckwheat noodles.
This cooking and nutrition portion brought to you by Save On Foods.
Cooking time on Empowered Health, and I'm in the kitchen with registered holistic nutritionist Julia Olton, who's got another amazing recipe to share. Julia, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So today we are making noodles, I guess, right?
Today we're doing an Asian cauliflower with buckwheat noodles.
So where do we get started? What's the first
So we're going to
step?
start. I've chopped some of this cauliflower up. What we want to do is cut it up into pieces that are bite-size. So I'm going to have you do that.
Okay.
What we're going to do is give it a bit of an Asian flavor, and that's going to come from the soy sauce and the cilantro, and we're going to serve it mixed in with the buckwheat noodles. So it can be a side dish or it can be a main dish. I'm going to just saute some onions and garlic over here. So we're just going to cook this for a minute.
Okay.
And let it just soften, and then we're going to add the tomatoes and the onion and cook that for another 3 minutes. And we put a little bit of canola oil in there to start. So we're going to add the tomatoes. There's 3 tomatoes here, nicely chopped, and we're going to put in the onions. So we're going to cook this for 3 minutes. We have cooked the buckwheat noodles.
Right.
We put them in boiling water and let them cook for 3 or 4 minutes.
Right.
And they're al dente. Rinse them off in the colander. And we're going to, when we're ready to serve it, we put the vegetables in here and stir it all up together.
Okay.
And one of the things that I thought was kind of interesting, I got this for Christmas one year from my sister, and it looks like a little salad spinner, but what it is a unit with blades that cuts. It'll do onions, it'll do chopped celery, it'll do all kinds of things. You just pull it like this. We've got cilantro in here, and you'll see that when we're done,
it's all nicely chopped.
it's all nicely chopped, and we haven't had to make a mess. All right, let's see how our tomatoes are doing over here.
Okay.
And I think the tomatoes, you know, it's just stirred and softened here. So let's bring the cauliflower over. We're going to turn this up.
And then you put...
Yeah, put the cauliflower in there. And we're going to add the soy sauce.
So soy sauce goes first.
Yeah, and then the cauliflower, and we've got the vegetable broth there that we're going to put in at the same time.
Okay.
And then those are going to cook for 10 minutes.
Okay. So 3 minutes for the veggies, then you add the soy sauce, then you put the cauliflower and give it another 10.
Yes, with the vegetable broth.
All right.
2/3 of a cup, I think it is. And we're going to put the lid on and let that bubble away for a few minutes.
And now this is on about slow heat.
It's actually on medium for now until everything gets heated up.
So Julia, the veggies are done. We mixed them with the buckwheat noodles.
Yes.
Now it's time to try it.
Yes, it's time to try. So once the vegetables, you only want to cook them till they're tender crisp. And I added a bit of cornstarch to thicken the sauce a little bit. And I think something that would be really delicious on this is taking some chopped peanuts and sprinkling them on top. I think it would just add a perfect finish to a vegetarian meal.
This is so good. You said perfect. This is already perfect.
Well, it is perfect on its own, but if you wanted to make a vegetarian meal, I think if you added a little bit of protein, nuts.
It's really versatile like that.
Yeah.
Well, Julia, thanks for being on the show, and thank you for this amazing recipe.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks. I'm here with registered dietitian Melissa LeBlanc, who always brings a wealth of great information to the show. Melissa, welcome to Empowered Health.
Thanks, Vijay.
Now, with all the segments that I've done with you in the past, one lesson that I've learned is to go with green leafy and colorful vegetables because they're high in antioxidants, right?
That's right.
What about white vegetables like cauliflower?
That's a great question, Vijay, and I'm often reminding people to add colorful vegetables to their plates because they're great and they're high in antioxidants, but we really shouldn't forget about the white ones either.
Okay, now I recognize the cauliflower, I recognize the white onion and the garlic. What are these two guys here?
So fennel. Fennel from seed to stem, the entire vegetable is edible. It's crunchy and is similar to celery, but it has a licorice flavor. So it's wonderful added to salads, but you can also cook with it and it's great roasted.
Okay, and what's that? I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Not many people have. So this is celeriac or celery root, and it's the root of the celery stalks that we use in other types of cooking.
The actual celery stem.
Yeah.
This is the root of that.
That's
and
right.
And it's edible.
Yeah, so you just want to take the outer peel off first because it's quite tough, but it's wonderful in a pureed vegetable soup. You can make a great mash out of it instead of using your everyday white potatoes.
Right.
And it's also wonderful roasted in the oven and paired with a great comfort dish.
Okay, well that's excellent information right there. Let's talk about onions and garlic. Widely used vegetables, you use them in a variety of recipes. What's the goodness here?
So onions and garlic are in the same family and they've been used with food and medicine for thousands of years. And they're really the foundation of a lot of dishes that we cook. So curries and soups and stews, you always see onions and garlic.
Garlic, you can have it fresh or powdered garlic. They're different, but do they do the same thing?
No, I wouldn't use one in place of the other. They are very different. So when in doubt, I would use the fresh stuff because it's much more flavorful and versatile.
It's also got the heat that you need in some recipes.
Definitely.
Oh, thanks for being on the show, Melissa, and thank you for telling us about white vegetables.
You're welcome, Vijay.
Thanks. Well, that's it for this episode of Empowered Health. Among all those interesting topics on the show today, one thing I learned, Michelle, is that I need to pay more attention about how I care for my contact lenses.
Well, there'll be more information next week on the show that will help you to empower your health. Stay tuned. In the meantime, you can follow us for news and updates on Twitter. Bye for now.
We'll see you next week.